This will be for the con exercise. Identify quadratic patterns. All right, so these are the 3 quadratic patterns they are referring to. All right, and the part that I wrote in blue will be the factored form. And let's unpack each one of these to get the original. If you were to do a minus b squared, if you were to use FOIL, a times a, you would get a squared. Negative b times negative b for the last term, you would get positive b squared. And if you did the inner outer, you would get negative ab plus negative ab, and that's negative 2ab. All right, for a plus b quantity squared, it's almost the same thing. The first term would be a times a, or a squared. The last term would be b times b, or b squared. And if you did the inner outer, you would get ab plus ab, which is positive 2ab. Okay, so it's almost the same thing, except the middle term is different. And for this last one here, first you would do a times a and get a squared. Last you would do negative b times b, you'd get negative b squared. And as far as the middle term, negative BA plus BA cancels. That would just be 0. So on this one here, there is no middle term. All right, so the one in blue is in factored form, and the one in red is in the original form. All right, and this one here has no middle term. This one here has a positive middle term. This one here has the negative middle term. So we're using one of these 3 or none of the above for the following problems. All right, so we want to factor this expression here. This is the original. And what pattern can we use to factor the expression? Now, they used u and v instead of a and b. All right, but it's the same thing I just showed you, but just replace it with u and v. And I believe these choices are the same for every question. So let's see what we're starting with here and see if we can match one of the patterns we talked about. So if you go back to the notes that we took in the beginning, the 3 quadratic patterns, this one here, this would be the original before it was factored. This would be in the form of a squared plus b squared. And you got a plus sign there, so it's plus 2ab. Now, we can see this matches everything. With a small problem here, we do not have a coefficient of 2 right here. All right, there would have to be a 2 in front of this in order for it to match. All right, but we don't have that here. So this part here, it would equal a plus b quantity squared. It would equal that if we can line it up, but as you can see, there's no coefficient here, but this one needs the 2, so we don't have it. So unfortunately for this one, we can't use any of the patterns, okay, because it's missing the 2 coefficient right there. All right, so the first one is none of the above. We can't use any pattern. All right, next up, they ask the same questions for all of these. There's the same multiple choices. So let's try to do the same thing on this one. All right, so to me, I'm thinking this is in the form of a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, and the one that matched that was basically the one that said a minus b quantity squared. All right, because when you did a times a, that'd be a squared. Negative b times negative b will give you b squared. The inner outer term is negative. All right. And just to make sure that it matches, The b squared is clearly positive 25. All right, and if you took the square root of both sides, the value of b would just be 5. So when you did your inner-outer term with b equals 5, you'd have negative 5 and negative 5, and that's negative 10. So this one clearly works, and this matches a minus b, quantity squared. All right, and that's this one right here. Same as a minus b, except they just used u minus v, quantity squared. Now, this one here has no middle term. All right, so I am thinking this is going to be a squared minus b squared, because there's no middle term. And if you recall, that is the equivalent of a minus b times a plus b. Okay, the middle term is negative ab plus ab, so it cancels. And the last term is negative b times b, that's negative b squared. So what we have here matches this right here. This is the factored form of this. So a minus b, a plus b, same thing except they used u and v. All right, last one. Once again, there is no middle term. So we want to see if this can equal a minus b times a plus b. But remember, for this one here, this has to equal a squared minus b squared, because negative b times b is negative b squared. And you can see here the signs do not match. This is a negative and this is a positive. This would have been the only possible one because there's no middle term. However, this right here would have to be negative in order for us to use it. Here it's positive, so this does not work, and the answer is none of them, none of the above. We can't use any of them.